share some more. So myself already it has been introduced. So you can follow me on my, I have got a one online website, kdedutech.in. So where you can get what you call online courses on AI, ML, robotics. This is one which I started in during the pandemic because most of the engineering faculties have what you call affected by this one. Any faculty who is interested in learning and teaching in online, he is most welcome to this one. So you can follow me on YouTube channel. You can follow me on Blogger. You can one personal website also I made it to for my students. The all online material will be available with them. The subject which I deal with it. So of course social media also I am present there. So my total topic which I have selected is influence of NEP 2020 on engineering education. So basically it's a very broad topic which I have selected. So probably we may not be going to deal with the specific issues, but definitely, so how the NEP will be influencing or how engineering education is reflected because of the implementation of the NEP, we try to understand it. So in this particular webinar, so I'm going to deal with certain sections. So first section is evolution of the engineering education. I would like to talk about little bit. Then I would like to discuss about why NEP 2020 was necessary, then overview of the NEP 2020. So how it is influences the engineering education, that is the next part. And finally, so what is the takeaway from this particular seminar? So where I'm very much interested that what is the takeaway from this webinar to my participants. So let's start with what we call it the evolution of Indian education system. So education is always given a priority, even in pre-independence India or even in post-independent area. So just we have a what you call a evolution. It all started with Vedic, the way it will be taught in Gurukul. Then it has been shifted to pre-independence era where British have taught us the right present education, that is sitting in a classroom and addressing the students in a mass and right from LKG, UKG, all this education system. It is a what you call a gift or a compulsion from the what you call British, those who are ruled our country. So after that we shifted to the post-independence area where literacy rate was very, very low. So probably the many people very aware about that one. There used to be what you call night schools for increasing the what you call literacy. Then comes what we call it as a Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Even in 2009. So already we have got a what you call Right for Education Act also has been come. So that all leads to the what we call it as a Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. Every child should get an education. That has been. So when we reach the 90s, so there is a liberalization, globalization is there. So that also affected on our education. So then right now we are into the 21st century. We are talking about more about the skill rather than about the age. The only point I wanted to make in this slide is that one, it's exponential curve. The rate at which the changes have taken place between Vedic to pre and post, now the things are we're moving very, very fast. So let me start with what I call my education system with the 1990, because this is a very important year for the India, because in 1990 we liberalized, privatized, and globalization. So I hope that one everybody has got what you call a good fruit of the liberalization and privatization and globalization. So participants, have you taken the good fruits of the liberalization, privatization, globalization? Do you feel it has been benefited? Because this has implemented in all the areas except the education. Okay, so if we talk about the mobiles, if we talk about any consumer items, so global players are there into the India, and because of the what you call heavy competition, we are getting better quality products at a cheaper rate. So this is the what you call basic advantage what we got it because of the liberalization and privatization and globalization. Even we go to the extent of saying that the global has become a village. Okay. So do you agree with me that we are having good fruits of the liberalization and privatization and globalization? Do you agree with me, participants?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, yes. So everybody agrees that liberalization, privatization, globalization is changing the scenario. Okay. So let's start with what we call 2005, where the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has called this era as a knowledge century. So from there onwards, the importance for the higher education is started down in India. So when it comes to the 2016, under the leadership of Sam Pitroda, then the Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India. He formed a National Knowledge Commission to understand what are the basic needs for the higher education and where we stand it. So National Knowledge Commission has submitted a report to the government of India making certain points about it. Those things I will later elaborate right to you. The only important point what it is made is that there is a need to shift from teacher centric to the student centric. That is a major what you call observation by this National Knowledge Commission. Again in 2019 in Canada, when Kapil Sibal was HRD minister, there was what you call Eshpal committee report was there. So that also brought a lot of what you call changes, reforms in the higher education. Right now, what are the prevailing? These are all the changes which has been brought in 2009 itself. Then comes an era where 2014 is there when we talk about what you call accreditation, NBA, NAC and other things. In 2014, India has successfully what you call able to sign with the Washington Accord. It struggled for 2-3 years and then it makes certain changes in its structure. So finally, it is what you call got signed with the Washington Accord. So then the 2018 has come where the government of India made it to implement what we call it as a CBCSE system, that is choice-based credit system. So which was not there earlier one. And at graduate level, this has been implemented. By memory, I can tell you in 2018, most of the universities were reluctant to do this one, but the government has made it compulsory. Even there is some ruling was from the Supreme Court which has made to implement the things everywhere. Similarly, what happened in our Mekeda to what you call Padayatra, when the court has intervened, they have taken it back. There's something similar happened in the implementation of this CBCSE system then in 2018. So along with that, we started talking about the accreditation of the institution, importance of and AICT and VTU started implementing what we call it the induction program for the freshers. So these are all the developments which have been taken place. So when it comes to the 2020, rather let me make it 2019, where the National Education Policy draft has been prepared and it is submitted to the public forum for its scrutinization. And finally, in July 29, it has been implemented. Right now, the education system in India is driven by globalization and changing demography. I made it an underline there. So because demography plays a very important role. As a teacher, we have what I call some responsibilities lie with us. So I would like to deal with that in later part of my presentation. And technological developments and some key driving forces for the future. So basically demography, technology and globalization, these are the three driving force for the present education policy. So before we get into the what I call this one, so we try to understand why we need this NEP or what are the present situation in engineering education also, we may call like that also. So basically we are in the 21st century, there are certain requirements of the 21st century is there. So every 21st century student, we expect him to have a critical thinking, creativity, You should have a collaboration. You should have a good communication. You should have a media literacy. You should have a technological literacy. You should be very flexible. You should have a good leadership quality, initiative. You should be able to give you the higher productivity, and finally you should have a very good social skill. These are all the things which were expected out of a 21st century students. Okay, so I think most of the teacher we are also started thinking about what you call talking about the critical thinking, creativity, and other things. So rightly, these are the demands we need to fulfill this one. So what happens in simple terms? So along with what you call our now formal education, students are supposed to get what you call problem solving ability, creativity, analytical thinking. These are all to be developed in the students of the 21st century. So it means we talk about the abilities rather than talking about the knowledge or the skill. So when we have a mixture of those two, then naturally it is going to build up the abilities. So slightly what you call some certain things which we look into the what you call in a 21st century student, that is higher order what you call thinking skills. We talk about multiple intelligence. We talk about the communication skill. It's a small repetition, but the underlying point here is the what we call it the self-learning methodology. So that is the one thing which we have to, I think, let me take my cursor. Okay. Self-learning methodology, and finally, authenticated assessment and evaluation. Okay, we are having this system, but it is one word is to be added, that is the authenticated system. So these are the what we call requirements of the 21st century. So we need to fulfill all these things. Hence, we need to have what we call it as a NEP there. Okay. So there are certain trends are in education are there. So already I talked about the Washington Accord. So we are all aware of the particular Washington Accord. So it's a accord between the what you call member countries on a common what you call sharing of the education, technical education at different platforms. Basically, Washington Accord says that when any engineering education which takes place, it should be based on outcome-based education. It should adopt a choice-based credit system, and the learning should take place in student-centric method, and the institute should be get accredited. These are the certain guidelines or the benchmarks which has been put by the Washington Accord, to which all the countries have agreed, and we try to implement it. The benefits of the Washington Accord, need not to say much about it. We are all aware of that one. So any credit transfer can take place between the countries, and there is no need to give any extra examinations which were used to be the earlier before the what we call this NBA or the credit or outcome based education system. Once the students have undergone all these systems, directly they can take an entry into the what we call their university without much hitch. So these are the trending which have been helped us. So finally, we wanted to have what we call students which are industry ready. Basically, the traditional teaching method was a sequential one. So after what we call training, then giving some evaluation, then undergoing certain training, we able to get it. But now the era has changed. So now we want a student to get directly into the industry without much time. Very next day, he should be able to work on the industry. So it means what, in simple terms, the training has been shifted to the what we call teaching and learning process itself. So this is the difference between the what we call teacher centric and student centric approach. The earlier was teacher centric. So where the focus was on what we call on the instructor, there were never focus was on the learning or the learner one. I think this I will later part again I will going to refer it, but a paradigm shift is to be needed between teacher centric to the student centric. That is which will help me to make the students industry ready. So employability. So another issue is there in a recent development what employability, and these are the surveys which were being made here. So 80% of the engineers in India are unemployable, as it says. I am audible, participants. Small feedback from you.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible and clear. My screen is also visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So 80%, even for what you call Narayan Murthy in one of the interviews with CBNE, CNBC 18, he also expressed that 80 to 85% of the engineers, those who are coming out of the engineering colleges are not employable. And he said that there is no dirt for the employability. There is no dirt for the employability. There is no dirt for the employment, but the only problem is with the employability skills. So here I made a small, I would like to bring some, your notice to here, information technology engineers. A small survey was made, even in information technology also. So it says that what are the lagging, skills in this one that has been highlighted here. In nutshell, what we can say that there is a need to have a change in education system so that this can become a reverse one. That 20% should be unemployable, whereas 80% of the people should be employable. Okay. So then question comes, what are the barriers which has been made, not allowing me to prepare my students to the industry ready? The first and foremost is the rote learning. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by the rote learning? Rote learning? Yes. So any idea? Even sometimes it is also called as a brick and mortar type of the learning. Okay. So basically the system which we call it as a by hearting the things. Without understanding, just by heart and reproduction, that is what we call it as a rote learning. So this is to be stopped first, because this is the main cause for what we call not preparing the students to the industry. So that has to be stopped. This is the barrier for to achieve the 21st century skills. Second thing is, already mentioned it, our education system is teacher centric. Now it has to shift to the student centric. Okay. So participants, if you wanted to share it, you unmute it and you talk to it. It will be that can speed up the things instead of putting. And another thing is that skill component was missing everywhere. Okay. So skill component was missing there. So now 21st era is such a era where we not only need to get the skill, we need to upskill it. Even there is a requirement of the reskilling. That provision was not there in existing system. And one more thing is that learn, unlearn and relearn. This is also one of the requirements of the 21st century. So it's not only for us to learn anything. So sometimes we have to need to then learn new thing. So before we knew the learn thing, it is necessary to erase the things which we understood it. So always what happens, the human psychology or the man always try to understand the things based on the things what he knows it, or his understanding or his cognitive ability will start thinking from there onwards. So if you want anything to be learned totally new, so it's necessary that there must be unlearning and then it should go to the relearning. So this is also one of the requirements. So quality education is most needed one, because we may be learning it locally, but we need to cater to the global one. We cannot say that when I studied in a rural college, I am not having idea about the things what are happening around the world. I am not aware of this technology. We can't say this one. Any of the technology has helped us in this one, getting the access. We got the success, but what about the quality? So still there is a dirt is there in this quality. So we need to improve on that one. And finally, the policies which were there so far, which has come into the education, so there was no comprehensive. It means what in totality, nobody has given the idea or approach to the education in India. That's why a long gap of 34 years is also one more reason, or you can treat it as a barrier for learning process in the 21st century. So I hope that you got all the idea about the barriers. So once the barriers are known, then question definitely comes what? What are the solutions for that? So the first solution is that one learner-centric method should be adopted. So because total focus should shift to the learning process rather than the teaching process. So how we can do that? In simple one sentence, if I would like to say that one, teacher should become facilitators rather than spoon feeders. We should allow students to actively participate in the learning. We have to make them to learn. This is the one point I would like to say that one. By doing this one, so definitely we can try to find a solution, and NEP also talks about the same thing. Students should take responsibility of their own learning. We have to create an environment where students should take the responsibility of the learning. Right now, what we find out, the learning is everything is thrown on the teachers. I'm right or wrong, participants? If some student doesn't get good marks, he will blame whom? He will blame the teacher. He has not taught properly. But once the student get a good marks, then whom he will appreciate? You are all experienced this kind of things in your teaching profession, yes or no, participants?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when they get good marks, credit will go to whom? They give credit to the teacher, or they claim? They claim themselves. Okay, students say that one, I have done it. So we should make them to take more responsibility. Okay. So encash the demographic dividend. Anybody is having any idea about the demographic dividend? I will give 1 minute time, and so that I can, if doesn't, I will do it. Any idea about the demography? Because during this 2014 onwards, everywhere most of the people have started talking about this demography dividend. Any idea, participants? Any idea about the demography? What do you mean by the demography?
So depending on the surrounding culture, sir, education is also affected. I just guess it out. I'm not sure about it.
Okay. Thank you. Any other answer?
So shift in the population's age structure and the economic growth potential will be resulting according to that.
Perfect. Any other answer? Yes, it is all related with the population, how particular statistics of the population is there. So it has become so important for our India. So that is because our India is nowadays called as a young India. You agree with me? You are aware of that one? We call it as a young India.
Yes, sir.
So why do we call it?
More young population in our country.
What is the percentage? Can you give me some idea about the percentage? There is a variation in percentage when we refer to the different things. So roughly 45 to 50% of the young India is going to lie between between the age of 20 to 40. I made it a little broader one. So teen age to the middle age, I made it 20 to 40. It means what? 45 to 50% of the Indian population is in this one. So this is how we should encourage this one. For that, a small presentation is there. I hope that one it will open up. Yeah. So demographic dividend is the one word we try to understand here. So demographic dividend is nothing but it's a benefit a country gets when working population outgrows its dependents such as children and old people. In simple terms, when the young people are there, we can work large. It means what? Working hands are more and feeding hands are less. That is the simple meaning. Okay. So this change in growth is a temporary one. Okay. This stage of countries start with a demographic transition. It means shift from one phase to the another one. Okay, every country undergoes it. It is not something new concept for the India. Every country undergoes this demographic dividend, and always many what you call social engineering is always dependent on this demography itself. So developing countries also go through three phases of the demographic phases. It talks about it. The phase 1, it talks about improved income and health reduces the infant mortality. It means what? Birth rate will increase. So in simple terms, the population will increase. Okay. So here we can make it a point here. The number of dependents per income earner increases the dependency ratio. The phase 2. Okay. So the phase 2 is the first demographic dividend. It talks about it. What do you mean by this one? So दुडियो कई हेचवा उन्नो कई कम हुआ काम करने वाले हाथ ज्यादा है खाने वाले कम है. It means children and what you call aged people are less in number, whereas the young people are more in number. Okay, so this will the India, Australia, Indonesia all are going through this what you call this one. Second demographic dividend also we will get it. So when we get a second demographic dividend, so it's simply it is written here. What is that? In short, first dividend else transitory bonus. Second, transform that bonus into greater assets and sustainable development. So probably in recent year, you also might be hearing this word again and again, that is sustainable development. So whatever concept you take is people talk about the sustainable development. So this is why we're talking about the sustainable development, because it is going to give me the dividend out of that. It means what? Dividend out of what? Dividend which is earned through the young population by working hard. So again, few examples are there in our screen. Brazil, China, and USA are there. There is the third phase is also there. The third phase is what? The phase 3 of in phase 3 of countries development, dividends start disappearing. So this is the most important point to be remembered. This is the third phase where the dividend starts disappearing. So it means what? The young population diminishes and the old population will come. Japan is the best example right now. In Japan, the old people number are more compared to the older, what I call young people one. So, but still the Japan is more strong in economically, because we are all aware that how Japanese people will work and how much they are dedicated, how much they are patriot about their about their countries. Probably you might have heard about an example. Even when they go on a protest, they didn't stop the what you call working. I think most famous example is that one. The what you call right hand shoe and left hand shoe. They started producing only right hand shoe. It's a mark of protest. This is the dedication of the Japan. So because of this, Japan is what you call economically strong still, even it is entered the phase number 3. So what we say that one? So we should try to find out the what you call this demographic dividend. As a teacher, we have to make this aware to all the students that why you are facing the what you call unemployability problem because of the outnumbering in the youth people. But the only solution for that is to skill yourself. Okay, skill up the thing, try to acquire some kind of the skill. If you acquired the skill, try to upskill it. If you required it, you can to reskill it. So give focus on the skill. We should try to convince our students so that the demographic dividend can be earned out of that one. If you fail to do this one, then it is going to be a demographic disaster. The disaster means what? I think, hope everybody understands that one. Much of the damage will take place without telling anything. To avoid this demographic disaster, I feel that it is our duty to see to that one, make aware of our students that one, to have their better future. The only way is to get the what you call the skill in there along with the knowledge. So skill, upskill and reskill, I need not to much talk about it. Already I referred about it. So learn, I'm not going to deal it. Extensive research. So everywhere the research has been what you call started. Everybody is focusing on research. NEP is also going to what you call focus it on the research. Here I would like to again quote one instant where Narayan Murthy was talking about the what you call research in India. He referred that one of the research. The Einstein has made many research things. One of the Einstein's research which has came into the light after 99 years. Okay, so with that particular findings by the Einstein, it what you call reduces a error of 7 miles with GPR system. I'm not having much idea about it, so just I noted out this one. The point underlying here, the Narayan Murthy says that we should allow people to take the research everywhere, in all sorts of area, in all directions. There must be research. We always, when we talk about the research, we have what you call a lot of what you call presumptions are there with us. We say that when this topic, hey, this is not meant for the research. It's a easy topic. Something of that sort is there with us, is it not? I hope that most of the participants are the research scholars, or most of the participants might be completed their what you call research work. Some may be looking for it. So this is an what you call point to be made. Any area, in any direction, we should allow the research. I think I would like to get some feedback from the participants, those who are doing the research. So when you try to Google it out, any research paper, most of the paper are written by whom?
Chinese.
Perfect. So any topic you take it, you will find one or the two papers by the Chinese authors. So this is what the Narayan Murthy says, that still extensive research in all directions, it has to take place. So we don't know, because from which research, which person will get motivated to have a innovative idea to implement the things. So these are the solutions which I talked about the 21st century. The same NEP also talks about it. So now we come to the what you call national education policy. I hope that I created a good foundation so we can lead into the what you call why this NEP we want it, or what NEP talks about it. I hope that we will try to understand it based on the base which have been just created by me. Okay. So education policy was thought to be very 1968 itself, because when the British left out, there was no guidance for education policy. So Kotari has made its first what you call, right? 86 was the one more era, so where the national education policy has been formed. Okay. So one more developments is, as I said, during 92 and 2009, that is, these are not called as a policies, but when it comes to 2020, a national education policy is there. So basically it talks about the structural changes in the education system, which aims to make India global knowledge superpower. Okay. Ensuring equity and inclusiveness. These are the very important what you call words. Superpower, global knowledge, superpower, ensuring equity and inclusiveness. Because India is a diversified country, and need not to mention anything. So for that, what they did it in 2019, there was a draft was made, and it has put into the public domain, and around 2 lakhs of suggestions have come, and around what you call thousands of what you call even non. They have, I think 4,000 NGOs, they have contacted it. Around 25,000 they have connected with the what you call taluka level or the board level people. So from there, all they got the feedbacks, and they taken the what you call suggestions from them, and finally it has been implemented in 2020. So national education policy, it has got what you call 3 parts. The first part is deal with the school education, second part will deal with the higher education, and the third part is other keys and areas of the focus, and the fourth part is making it happening. Because talking NEP is a good one, but when it comes to the implementation, it is equally difficult one. So try to understand what is the vision. We can say that one, because the vision is the one word which everyone is familiar about the things. That's why I'm making use of this word. What is the vision of this NEP? So NEP is focused on creating a holistic application-based education system with a special emphasis on skill development, which makes students future ready. I think everybody is aware of this one. So the NEP says this thing. So another thing important from the NEP, what it takes is that education policy lies particularly emphasis on the development of creative potential of each individual. So we know that one, every individual is a unique one. So NEP try to give importance to that. Each individual, it is based on the principle that education must develop not only cognitive capacities, both foundational capacities, literacy, numeracy, and higher order cognitive capacities such as critical thinking, problem solving, but also social, ethical, emotional capabilities and dispositions. This is, it means simple terms, we can say that one, we try to give a holistic view to the NEP. NEP try to give a holistic vision to the education one. Okay. So this is what in a simple term. Okay. So if I try to make a quite similarity between what it try to do it, so probably you may be aware of the Gurukul system. So can anyone tell me what was the system used to be there in the Gurukul? Any participant? What was the system was there?
Guru Dakshina.
Pardon?
Guru Dakshina.
Guru Darshana. Okay, okay. Okay, what was the system? Okay. Yes. Then right now system, why I will tell you. Right now system is what? We will ask student to say 50, 60 number in front of us. We will teach it for 1 hour and we will come out of that. And we will say that when all 50 students have understood it. Okay, we come to the next class and we say that one, last class I talked about this one. Again, I will teach to 50, 60 students at once. And I assume that when everybody has learned it. Okay, let me make it in a simple terms. In Gurukul system, there used to be only one Guru. The Guru was what you call, he was
taught various subjects and how they can live their life in cultured and disciplined way.
Yeah. Perfectly. How they could live their life disciplined way. That is the simple, very good, what you call observation and very good feedback to me. Because they used to teach you how to lead the life rather than what you call behatting the things. Okay, the Guru was he was a science teacher, he was a philosopher, he was a history teacher, he was a what you call sports teacher. Every was unique, everything one in this way. And usually the senior student used to what you call teach the junior students. So that was some kind of system is there. Let me don't go into that one, but the point which has been lying underlying this one is what they try to develop the skills so that they can live a disciplined life, rightly put by the participants. So this is what NEP again try to do it. That's all.